Dude, back on the grind, diving in to 1985. I'm going to be doing my top 5 horror movies from what some say is a very fantastic year of horror. And me, on the other hand, I'm kind of like, I really didn't like that many of them, but I did pick 5 with 2 honorable mentions. Shall we get into this bad boy? Let's see what I got, and I want to know what you guys got, but let's get this thing started. Like I said, continuing along my journey of ranking all the years starting in 1980, I land on 1985. Now, I know that this year is very popular with some people. There are a lot of bangers this year, but for me, there was a couple bangers, and then everything else was kind of just like blah. But that's just my opinion. And obviously, all of these lists that I ever do, that's just how I feel. If you guys feel differently, that's perfectly fine, and that's okay. We should all have our own views and opinions, and no 2 lists should be the same. But if one of you out there does have the same list as me, give me your number. I might call you. Yeah, maybe. Well, I don't know why I'm going to call you, but maybe. All right. Like I said, I got top 5 from 1985. I have 2 honorable mentions. I'm going to start with those first. I have Demons, ladies and gentlemen. Demons, the Italian horror film. Takes place in a movie theater, you know. We got a lot of demons taking over the theater. We got like a helicopter landing on top of the building. We got a decapitation with like a samurai sword on a dirt bike. The music, the soundtrack is fantastic. But, I mean, I've only watched this movie a couple times, and it just doesn't draw me in, doesn't, like, I don't know, just something about it just doesn't get me going on all cylinders. But it is worth an honorable mention, and if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out for a one-time watch. I believe that was, I'm not even going to say who did it, because I'm really not sure, because I don't like Italian horror that much. If you want to know, go check out Drum Dums. Lee loves all that Italian horror. He knows way more about that shit than I do. Another honorable mention for me would be Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Yeah. Spoiler alert, it's not Jason. Not Jason at all. It's a guy, you know, it's a guy. It's another whodunit. They do a great job of letting us not know who it is. Not really. You either think it's Tommy doing that karate shit, you know, this is not Corey Feldman, this is not Tom Matthews. Oh my gosh. He does okay for what he's given. We got cool characters in there, like our boy Reggie the Reckless. Scared of rubber spiders? You scared of rubber spiders on strings? Man, you one scared cat. And you got, ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Damn, enchiladas. Miguel Nunez. He will appear later on this list as our boy Demon. But obviously, it's a watch every time we do, you know, a rewatch of the franchise for Friday the 13th or whatever. So definitely had to make an honorable mentions list. But jumping into the top 5, at number 5, I have H.P. Lovecraft's Reanimator. You could call it a zombie flick. I don't really know what else you're going to call it, but it involves dead people being brought back to life by our boy Jeffrey Combs, the main guy in this movie. Dr. Herbert West is doing his thing. We got Barbara Crampton in here, and believe me, we see all of her entirety, and it is very, very beautiful, very, very nice. It's nice, but the story's great. The reanimation fluid, the neon bright green looks amazing. It's just fun. It's kooky. It's wacky. It's very interesting, and it's zombies in a different version, I would say. But I definitely have a really good time with Reanimator. I've only ever seen this movie about 2 or 3 times. Did my first time watch this last year. But it definitely left an impression, and definitely one that I go back to. So definitely check that out. Coming in at number 4, I have A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. It is absolutely amazing. This is a dark, sinister Freddy in this one. Even more dark than the original movie. This, honestly, is one of my favorites in the franchise, if not the favorite in the franchise. We get great, dark, sinister. The pool scene, you're all my children now. Fantastic. Mark Patton did a great job. I know he went through a lot of shit filming this movie. But he did do a fantastic job, and he's definitely one of my favorite final guys. Robert Englund puts in a great performance as well. This one is called the gay Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Yes, it has its undertones. You can definitely tell. But, I mean, that dance scene in his bedroom while bumping in that desk drawer, that's fire, dog. I do that in my room all the time. Every time I'm putting dishes away, putting clothes away, that is how I live my life. And Mark Patton, Jesse, in the movie, you lived your life the way that it needed to be lived, and I loved it. Coming in at number 3, vampire flick I got, Fright Night, starring Chris Sarandon. Holy buckets. I was like, man, that guy looks familiar. And I was like, wait a minute, he's from Child's Play in 1988. But he was in this one first as an awesome vampire. We got our boy Charlie Brewster living next door. You know, kind of like that movie Disturbia, but in the 80s with vampires. Pretty much the same movie, but it's badass. I love it. I loved every minute of it. It's one of my favorite vampire movies that there is. The cover with the cloud above looking like the teeth and shit works. Peter Vincent, throwing homage to Vincent Price and Peter Cushing. I'm not good with the old time horror guys. I know I'm not good with them, but that's the vibe that I got. It worked well. The practical effects were great. The kills were great. It made you feel for Charlie, whenever Chris Sarandon's hooking up with his girlfriend, dude. Like, that was pulling at my heartstrings. Couldn't stand that part of the movie. But overall, man, it's definitely up there in top vampire flicks of all time, for sure. Definitely up in my top 5, maybe even top 3. And by the way, Reanimator had a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. Nightmare on Elm Street had a 42%. And Fright Night had an 82%. So 2 out of the 3 are bangers, according to Rotten Tomatoes, which take that with a grain of salt. But that's just how I like to, display what audiences are thinking about each film. Coming in at second, this one is my boy Christian from Planet CHH. Is one of his favorite movies of all time. Return of the Living Dead, with a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, starring our boy Tom Matthews, who will be in Jason Lives, a fan favorite in the Friday the 13th series in another year, and Linnea Quigley, and also, like I said, Miguel Nunez in his second movie of the year. I'm not a huge zombie guy, but if I'm going to pick one, this is the one. I just got a brand new steelbook of this bad boy the other day. It is beautiful. I love it. I highly recommend going to find one. eBay, $23-24. Go grab it. It's very, very beautiful. But this movie's fun. Soundtrack's banging. When the rain's coming down, they're playing them theme. It freaking works really good. And then the ending they thought they got rid of all the problem. They killed all they killed all the zombie. And then, oh man, it leaks into the cemetery. It works. It's amazing. Practical effects are great. Kills are great. Tar Man is badass. Love this movie very, very much. Highly recommend it if you have not seen Return of the Living Dead. But coming in first place from 1985 for me, a lot of it has to do with nostalgia. Silver Bullet, ladies and gentlemen. It only has a 41% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I highly disagree. But it's opinions, and that's just what it is. But Corey Haim, Gary Busey, their chemistry makes this movie. Everett McGill as the Reverend, and spoiler alert, as the werewolf. He does an amazing job. So creepy. He doesn't want to do what he's doing, but he has to do it because he's a priest. He's getting rid of the sinners doing bad things. This werewolf isn't just a killing machine. He has a motive, and he explains that motive throughout. And every person that he's killed is doing some kind of a sin. So it's definitely a different kind of a motive for these kind of movies. And like I said, I grew up with this movie. I watched it constantly. It was on TV, always checking this out. I probably watched this movie about 3 times a year. It's just something about it. Corey Haim is in his, he just draws you in. You cannot get enough of Corey Haim at this point in his life. In the chemistry him and Gary Busey have throughout this film, it just pulls at your heartstrings. And this is, this movie has a lot of heart, has a lot of passion behind it. I highly recommend checking it out if you have not. Very underrated werewolf movie. And if I had to, this is probably my number 1 werewolf movie of all time. So I highly recommend checking it out. It just hits all the right notes for me. And I know a lot of people don't like the look of the werewolf in this movie. I've never had a problem with it. I rewatched it again. Still don't have a problem with it. I like it. It's different. And I think it's an underrated transformation scene. I really do. When he's transferring back down from the werewolf and you see like his snout going in, his claws going in and everything, I think it's fantastic. The hair goes away, turns back into the man. I think it works. And then the ending joke is just hilarious. Jenny, something wrong with my legs. I don't think I can walk. And then he's like, oh, you bastard, you were crippled. He's crippled. And don't forget about the cool silver bullet wheelchair. Badass. Wish my uncle would have made me one of those as a kid. Would have been fantastic. But those were my top 5 from 1985 with 2 honorable mentions. I appreciate you guys checking this video out. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Definitely hit the like button on the video. It means the world to support me. And as you can see under my name right over there, Ice Ice Facci, it says, always accepting patrons. Yeah, I'm always accepting. I love them very much. And speaking of them, I apologize. I did not show this before the video started, but I will show it. There are my lovely, lovely patrons right there. Appreciate all their support throughout this journey on YouTube. If you would like to be on that card right there and get yourself into some awesome perks, please go check it out. Little as $2 a month can get you on there and get you some cool other perks. Look forward to pumping out the next year, 1986. But those are my thoughts. Let me know your top down below in the comment section. Let's have a little bit of a conversation. Let me tell you you're wrong, but you can still put them down there. And I still tell you you're wrong, but it's cool that you put them down there. So have a good day. I love you guys very much. And according to Matthew McConaughey, he told me one thing. All right.